They all the same, ladies. They all the same. Stop listening to the gimmicks. They ain't doing nothing but putting a fantasy in your head. And honey, they just like everybody else. I keep telling y'all when y'all gonna stop falling for the okey doke that they selling y'all, because y'all keep on buying it. Do you know that Yada guy that's on social media? He's a big influencer, made a whole bunch of money off of y'all. They call him Yada, the ladies' man. Honey, built a whole platform telling men how to treat women. And you know, majority of his audience were women listening to it, right? And his wife, his whole wife just proved the only woman he knew how to treat was the one he was treating like a punching bag. Yes, he was punching her. When I tell you this man had the nerve, the augmented gall to get on the internet for years, acting like the blueprint for manhood. Talking about he pays his wife $100,000 per child, $250 bonus every time she gives birth. A maid, a chef, a stylist. He called it a contractual marriage. He called it being a provider. He called himself a minister, okay, a healer, a relationship guru. And thousands of women ate it all up like they always do. Can y'all, the next man that comes out here talking a relationship, please stop believing people on the internet. Pray about it. Go to Jesus, because clearly you're not with Jesus if you just getting bamboozled by everybody on social media. I mean, thousands of y'all looked at this man and said, "That's the standard." Honey, honey, the standard just got exposed for breaking his wife's tooth out while she was still bleeding from childbirth. Divine Queen Yada, and I'm going to say her name with respect because she deserves that much. Divine just dropped a statement that should be studied in every domestic violence shelter in America. She said her 20s were filled with businesses, babies, and bruises. She said at 8 weeks postpartum, looking at her own face in the mirror, she had to she had to stop calling it a difficult season and really tell herself the truth. It was domestic violence. 8 weeks, 8 weeks. Her body was still recovering from birthing, a child, bringing a child into this world. Her hormones were still raging. Her breasts were still leaking milk. And do you know this man, Yada, this ladies' man that you guys like to refer to him as, was hitting her hard enough to break her darn tooth, breaking her teeth, y'all. The text messages are right there in the black and white. She wrote him. She said, "You hit me hard enough to break the rest of my tooth out my mouth and left me in severe pain while I'm still recovering from just giving birth to our child." What? And this is the ladies' man. This is the standard for men and how he's beating a woman like she's a man. And you know what this minister said? You know what Yada said, this healer, this supposed provider wrote back? He says, "Go to Dr. Dave. That's the best bet at the best prices." Yeah, go get surgery, get it fixed. Go to Dr. Dave. That's the best at the best prices. But what happened to the husband that spent all this money? So why you want to be cheap with getting her teeth fixed? Why would you want to get the best prices? Okay. That's not a husband, y'all. That's not a man. That's a customer service representative for his own crimes. That's a nigga who beat you, then tried to find you a coupon for the dental work. And he had the nerve to sign his text with "Have a good day." Yeah, yeah. But it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse because it's always get worse, right? See, this ain't Yada's first time at domestic violence rodeo. No, 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 no. Back in 2017, his first baby mama had to run screaming out the house to her neighbor's property to get away from him. He allegedly beat her with a barbell, Don't you know those barbells that you work out with, you do push-ups with and stuff at the gym? He got one of those and started beating his girl, his baby mama. These men, all they see you as is property, and they feel like they can hit you, beat you, do whatever you want. And they just tell lies to the public, just like they told your ass lies when they first got with you. All they do is lie. These men know how to sell a lie. And ladies, close your ears. It's best for women to be deaf, because when men talk to y'all, for whatever reason, you want to believe the okie doke. For whatever reason, you want to believe the fantasy when you know these men lie. I don't understand. I really don't get it, honey. But let's get back to that barbell that he was hitting her with. It's a weight, and he hit her in the head with it. Okay. Then he went to jail. He hit her in the head with a barbell. Then he went to jail. He got out, rebranding himself as a relationship expert. He pivoted. When the healing scam started tanking, when people realized his apple of Eve supplement was either arriving in broken glass bottles, spoiled, okay, and not arriving at all, he switched lanes. Yeah, he's a whole scamming black people. He looked at the algorithm, saw women were hungry for men who actually acted right, and decided to become one on camera. Honey, all the blogs are talking about how calculated and performative he is. And people are calling it a predator finding new prey, because that's what it is, a predator finding new prey. And the comment section, man, the black people in the comment section, honey, one person said another Derek Jackson. Another one said right message, wrong messenger. Y'all just better look to God. Y'all out here looking for man for answers. Your only answer is God, and leave these men alone. Okay, because clearly you're not talking to God, because God will tell you, no, this man ain't right. This is a fraud. And clearly you're not, because you've been deceived. Okay, another person said he was literally delivering clinical diagnosis on his own behavior. Yeah, because here's what makes this more nuclear. Yada made a whole video months ago saying, and I quote, for you to disrespect the mother of your child is mental illness. Okay. He said men who watch women give birth and still betray them are mental illness, mentally sick. He said ladies should leave them immediately. He said if these men can watch you go through pain and still not show up, they hate you. Leave him now. He was talking about himself. Every word out of his mouth was a confession wrapped in a sermon. Every time he dragged another man for being a deadbeat or an abuser, honey, he was looking in the mirror. That's not projection, that's prophecy. He knew exactly who he was. He just banked on his wife never telling us. And she almost didn't. I mean, for 8 years, 8 years of building, giving, forgiving, leaving, returning, healing, hoping. 8 years of projecting his reputation while he was destroying her face. 8 years of playing the perfect wife for the camera so he could keep selling the fantasy to women who desperately wanted to believe a man like him even existed. And they don't, ladies. They don't exist, okay? She said she didn't leave him because she stopped loving him. She left because she realized if she stayed, she would have drowned. That's not a breakup, baby. That's a resurrection. Okay. That's a resurrection. That's a woman climbing out of her own grave, y'all. Okay. But here's what I need y'all to understand. And this is what I want to tell y'all. Stop idolizing social media relationship people. Can y'all please stop it? Because you guys are doing it in the black community and it's sickening. Stop. Okay. Stop idolizing social media people. Stop idolizing people in these relationships. They are all lying. Okay. Because they keep on doing this shit to y'all. We keep on looking at these perfectly lit couples with their coordinated outfits and their scripted compliments and their contractual marriage paperwork. And we think that's love. We think that's the standard. We think if we just find a man who talks like Yada, we'll be safe. But a man who has to tell you he's a provider on the internet is usually a man who ain't providing nothing but trauma at home. A man who has to perform manhood for an audience is a man who forgot how to be human when the cameras cut off. And honey, the red lights were there. They were always there. Honey, I knew something was off. I could just tell. He had that look, that arrogance in his eyes. Okay, let me tell y'all intuition is not paranoia. Your intuition is the Holy Spirit tapping you on the shoulder saying, some don't, you smell that? Some don't smell right. And when a man talks too much about how good he treats women, when a man makes his entire brand about being the exception, and when a man yells into the camera about mental illness while his own wife's house is on fire, that's not a red flag. That is a red parade. Okay, that's a whole parade. That's a whole marching band of warning signs. Man, Divine said loyalty should never require abandoning yourself. Let me say that again. Loyalty should never require abandoning yourself. You need to be loyal to yourself than anybody else. If you are shrinking yourself to keep a man comfortable, honey, you are not in love. You are in captivity. You are making yourself smaller so he can feel bigger. And you are not a wife. You are a damn hostage. If you are sitting next to a man in videos while he is breaking your teeth in private, you are not building a damn empire. You are building a prison. So here's what we do. You watch for the gap between what he says on the internet and what he does in the dark. And the gap between the salary he claims to pay you and the pain he actually costs you. The gap between I love you and go to Dr. Dave. If the gap is wider than the Grand Canyon, you better run. Don't wait for the tooth to break. Don't wait for the postpartum bruises. And don't wait for the text receipts. You leave at the first lie. You leave at the first hit. You leave at the first time he makes you feel lazy for noticing what you noticed. Yada is not a minister. He is not a healer. He is not a provider. He is a fraud with a ring light and a violent streak. And Divine, honey, is not a victim. She's a survivor who chose herself when the world was still clapping for her captor. She chose safety. She chose peace. She chose her kids. She chose purpose. And finally, she chose herself. May every woman watching this find the strength to do the same. I need y'all to stay dangerous, stay aware, and never let a man who pays you with broken teeth tell you he's the standard. Okay? Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it and won't do it.